The Constitution of the Bahamas is now under review by the Constitutional Commission mandated to prepare the electorate for a referendum. And as Janaea Noel Ferguson tells us, the commission met briefly today with Commission Chair Sean McQueenie addressing the mandate.
The 13-member Constitution Commission, made up of a cross-section of the Bahamian public, headed by former Attorney General Sean McSweeney, has a broad mandate to build on the first commission that was disbanded after May 2007. That former commission's recommendations on constitutional reform never materialized, but McSweeney says there is no need to fear of that happening this time around.
The same thing about this one is that this is starting essentially the beginning of a new term of government, and we have a very ambitious, very aggressive mandate to report rather quickly. So there's every expectation that the political will being what it is at the moment, that there's really no danger of the commission meeting the fate that the last one did.
Mr. McSweeney explained that this will be more of an updating exercise to the work of the former commission. It's because of this that McSweeney says public consultation will not be as pressing.
If we think that there are particular areas that do in fact require a greater degree of public consultation than we would have originally anticipated, again, the media will be informed of that. And also it'll give you an opportunity to just ask us generally on how things are going, any problem areas that we've encountered, any delays, any setbacks, any challenges. We intend to be very transparent with this process.
In early August in the House of Assembly, Prime Minister Perry Christie announced that it is anticipated that the Commission will pay particular attention to the need to strengthen fundamental rights and freedoms of an individual, whether the Bahamas remains a constitutional monarchy or evolve into a republic, or whether or not the Bahamas will have a final court of its own, ridding itself of the Privy Council and rules on capital punishment. While one issue will not take precedence over the other, McSweeney said there will only be one referendum for all issues.
The idea is to have all of the issues put before the electorate, as I said, in May or June of next year, be dealt with in one fell swoop.
But what if there are differences within the commission?
To the extent that there are sharp differences of opinion on the commission, I think that's something that we would identify to the government. We may say that, look, the majority of members, may want a particular recommendation to go forward, but, we're almost evenly divided. So this is something the government has to consider to the extent that that division may mirror divisions within the country. So it's not, we're going to try to keep this as informal as possible. We don't anticipate anybody having to come up with a minority report, that sort of thing. We will endeavor as far as possible to get consensus, and we'll spend a lot of time trying to get consensus. But, there's no whip on anybody. There's no party whip here. We would hope that the members here are not serving any political party. They're serving the national interest, as I said at the end a short while ago. But we're going to all, put our shoulders to the wheel.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Tax reform has been at the forefront of the Christie administration's agenda since it took office 3 months ago. It's something the government views as critical, recognizing the need for a more efficient tax system. Equally as important is the educational component, as reform would impact everyone. And as our Andrew Knowles tells us, the private and civic sectors are partnering to begin the national dialogue.
The Christie administration is pushing to modernize the country's tax structure, recognizing the significant need for reform. It also is a requirement if the country wants to shed its observer status and accede to full membership in the World Trade Organization.
There are some fundamental requirements for change in our economy in terms of how we generate revenue and the kinds of incentives we offer business enterprises to invest in the Bahamas, both Bahamians and non-Bahamian. Currently, most of our tax revenue is derived from import tariffs, which are not yielding sufficient sums to reduce our recurring deficit.
That's why the private and civic sectors have partnered to host a national tax symposium to sensitize Bahamians to the challenging issues and begin national discourse on the matter. Officials on Wednesday announced the details of the free two-day symposium that's scheduled to be held on October 25th to the 26th at the College of the Bahamas. Chairman of Sunshine Holdings Limited, Franklin Wilson, stressed the importance of having such discussion free of partisan politics.
That the general realities to the Bahamas are such that the country would benefit if a dialogue about this tax reform matter could take place in such a forum and through such means that it was clearly seen to be and proved to be beyond any partisan political context.
The initiative is receiving broad support from international organizations like the Inter-American Development Bank, civil society organizations like the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, the Financial Services Board, the Hotel Association, and the College of the Bahamas, and numerous private sector entities.
To have a dialogue where stakeholders, everyday persons, experts, business people, private sector, academics can really discuss what is the best way forward for the Bahamas in terms of the tax system is a tremendous opportunity. And I think what's also very key is that this is an effort driven by civil society.
As the premier tertiary level institution, the College and soon to be University of the Bahamas, we believe it is our mandate to engage, to initiate such kinds of discussions. And we are particularly pleased that this discussion will be held at COB.
Governor General Sir Arthur Filks will serve as honorary patron and Prime Minister Perry Christie as honorary chairman. Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis has also been invited to play a role. If you're not able to attend the symposium, officials anticipate that it will be broadcast over television and radio. For more information, visit the website at www.nationalsymposiumtaxreform.com. Andrew Nold, ZNS News.
A group of religious leaders held talks today with Prime Minister Perry Christie and senior government officials. The group of clergymen wanted to congratulate the Progressive Liberal Party on its 2012 general election win and encourage prudence in governance for the next 5 years. Altavis Munnings has the story.
You share your dream with us, and we shared what God was saying to us with you.
Most of the religious leaders who assembled for a morning meeting at the Wyndham Nassau Resort Wednesday with Prime Minister Perry Christie and senior government officials had met with Mr. Christie for about 16 months before the 2012 general election. It was now their turn to spiritually motivate and encourage him to govern effectively for the next 5 years.
That you will work and do all that you can for this country, not only for PLPs, but for the entire country, because you are the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We prayed you back. We know that you have come into the kingdom for such a time as this.
Whatever it may be, we are there on our knees, on our feet, on the altar, wherever we may be, and lifting you and your team in prayer.
Thanks for the sleepless night that you have spent. Thanks for the 8 islands that you visited in one day and survived. Thanks. Because there was no Bahamian that God anointed and appointed to take this country over other than yourself.
Once the accolades were done, Prime Minister Perry Christie asked the religious leaders to pray for the Christie administration as they govern the country over the next 5 years. He specifically asked for their help in maintaining the Urban Renewal 2.0 program.
The police must be providing coverage in cars, some marked, some unmarked, but that on an increasing basis until we have enough. And I promise 70 cars over the next 18 months. But until we have enough, that I want on every street, when you look around, you see a police car or you see a car that you think is a police car with 2 people in it. Wherever your church is, look to see the presence of the police. Because you will know if you're seeing them that saturation patrols are in place and are working.
The Prime Minister also asked the clergymen to assist police in their communities when necessary.
If some criminal or criminals are driving along Carmichael Road, right, the police know that even though it goes to someone saying you're interfering with my freedom, they have the right to stop them, question them, as to what's going on.
The Prime Minister further touched on the government's plan to propel the economy and decrease unemployment.
Listen, if President Barack Obama wins re-election, I suspect there's going to be significant movement to liberalize Cuba. And I can tell you that that in itself makes the competition even stronger if Americans are able to go to an exotic destination like Cuba without hindrance.
Prime Minister Christie and members of his cabinet joined the church leaders for a light lunch after the meeting. AltaV's Mornings, ZNS News.